Hi, I've been studying the law of attraction for almost 20 years, and I'm also a psychologist, and so I have a high value for research. And as I've started to see more and more research that supports things that we have been learning in law of attraction, I get pretty excited. And this is one of those pieces of research. Scientists at the University of Wisconsin in Madison a few years ago did some research on compassion. They compared 15 monks who were doing compassionate meditation with 15 people who were just learning to be compassionate in meditation. And what they found was pretty interesting. They found that if you practice an emotion like compassion, that it will create a physical change in your brain, and that you can take people who've done this for a long time and then people who are just learning how to do it, and you will see the similar changes in the brain. And what this research really showed was that you can actually learn to be more compassionate by practicing being compassionate. And one of the comments in the study was, if this works for compassion, why not also for happiness? And so that really struck a chord with me because, of course, the law of attraction talks about being happy. What we're finding in research is that when you have frequent experiences of the same emotion, it creates changes in your brain that last. And so as you face situations where you're unsure again, you might find the tendency to go more in the direction of the emotion that you've practiced. And so these are emotional habits that you're laying down that are now physically or physiologically based. And the end result of all of this is that as you practice the same emotion over and over and over again, by experiencing it in your life, you will start to have emotional ruts that you will fall into, that will start to control your feelings on a day-to-day basis. The good news about all of this is that visualization can be used to change those emotional ruts or those physiological changes. What we're finding is that visualization is often creating the very same changes in parts of your brain that you would be seeing if you were actually in a situation experiencing the emotion or in a situation doing an action. And if visualizing or imagining or pretending to have that emotion creates the same kinds of changes, wouldn't it be easier to find yourself in a situation where you're not under stress and you're not facing an actual event in your life, but a time when you could sit down, go into a meditative or visualizing state, and imagine outcomes the way you would like them to be. Imagine yourself to be more compassionate in situations, to program situations that you know you'll be having in the future, whether it's a conversation with a loved one, a discussion you need to have at work, whatever it might be, to go the way you want it to go, imagining positive outcomes. It's a whole lot easier to change that and to imagine outcomes than it is to have those outcomes come up initially when you're actually in the situation. So really what we find is visualization is not only the next best thing to being there, it might even be better than actually starting to learn these things in the thick of it. If you're a constant worrier, and most of us have something that worries us over and over again, it's that thing that when you wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning, the second thing you think of is that worry. It kind of creeps in. You may have actually created worry ruts in your brain by allowing yourself to keep going back through those paths. So now when you relax and you're thinking about something else, or even you might find this in meditation, that you'll be focusing your thoughts in a certain direction, whether it's on your breathing or in a positive visualization, and all of a sudden you realize you're not doing that anymore. All of a sudden you're worrying again. That's because you've set down those physiological worry ruts, and when left unattended and unsupervised, your brain naturally is going to go back to those things that you've practiced the most. So what we want to do is begin to look at programming happy tracks instead of worry ruts. So when you take the time to visualize or imagine, whether it's people or events, things you want to have show up in your environment, you want to focus your visualization on positive outcomes. And you want to focus that time on visualizing things that make you happy, because when you do that, you're going to be laying down more physiological changes in your brain that are happy, that are joyful. And the more you practice happiness and joy, even in visualization to start out with, the more likely it is you're going to be able to find those responses in real life situations. So make time to visualize. Sit down, imagine family and friends, think of a wonderful vacation you have taken or a vacation you plan to take in the future. Are you going to be getting a new home or car, or have you? Be thinking, but always focus yourself on positive outcomes. Make lists of wonderful times and wonderful places. Focus on appreciation, the things that you have in your life already that you appreciate, the things that you want to have in your life that you will appreciate. And visualize yourself having those things, those places, those events, and being joyful about it. Now, here's another piece of this, though. What you need to do is start to look for evidence of these showing up in your life. And how this might initially look is you might find that the people around you are happier, and you might find that you're starting to experience fewer of those knee-jerk reactions of worry and upset when you're in a tense situation. You might also find things in your environment like you'll get into a line in the grocery store and it'll move faster instead of slower. The clerks will be happy. The waiters and waitresses will be happy. You'll be finding convenient parking spots. You'll be talking about a friend and they'll call you. Those kinds of things. What you want to do is look for those pieces of evidence and celebrate them when you see them. You want to pay very close attention to these improvements. And the trick is that you're going to start seeing those improvements in lives of other people around you before you start seeing them in your own life. So you need to recognize them for what they are, which is the universe coming forth and saying to you, look at this. These are things that are going to be available for you as well as you learn to accept them. And that's what you're doing through laying down those happy tracks, is opening up those circuits for allowing the abundance and the desires, the people, the things, and the events into your life that you want. Celebrating all these changes is a huge part of this. So if you'd like some more information on how to attract more wealth, health, love, joy, other things you might want into your life, and also to see links to some other research summaries that support the law of attraction, you could go to our website, wealthattractionformula.com. We have a free e-course you can register for there, and also a bonus teleseminar recording on attracting the wealth you desire. And of course, the techniques you'll be learning in that course apply not only to wealth, but to everything else. There will be other tips and techniques available on the website as well. So I hope that this has been as interesting for you as it has for me, and hope to see you at our site. Thanks.